Why, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Truly Odd podcast, where we bring you the latest in game news and movie news. I'm your host, Joe Garcia. So grab your controllers, get your popcorn, and let's go ahead and dive right on in, shall we? Starting off with some of our game news topics of the day. And mind you, YouTube is a bit of a bitch, so I cannot really show a lot of footage necessarily, depending on what it is. Games are a little more lenient this way, so let's go ahead and take a look at our first news topic of the game, and that would be the Kaiju number 8, the game. Now, I know initially some people were wondering if this game was going to be. I'm going to have to mute this so we could check it out. If this game was going to be a console game or if it was going to be something else, but it looks like it's going to be a mobile game, and it looks like it's going to be like a turn-based strategy game, and it's also coming out on PC. I do think the visuals look pretty interesting. I'm a little saddened by it being turn-based. Makes sense for it to be a mobile game, I guess, for something of this sort. But the manga just finished, I want to say last week. So the fact that we now have a finished manga, hopefully we can actually get a good full game out of it, a good like console game out of it, in the vein of Naruto or Dragon Ball Z, the Budokai series or something of that sort. So this is just mainly the highlights here. Here we're gonna see some of the characters. Hold on, I've skipped over some. So here we have the characters running, and yeah, as you can see, it's going to be turn-based strategy. You have your lineup of characters and who's going to attack and things like that. So it just looks very interesting, and I thought it might capture you guys' interest, especially if you want to download it. I'm going to skip to the end here so you guys could see. Yeah, you can pre-order it. I don't know if it's eventually going to be ported over to console and things of that sort. We're going to have to wait and see, but you can pre-order it. Apple Store, Google Play, and Steam currently. So if you guys are interested in that kind of game for Kaiju number 8, that's where that will be located. So go ahead and check that out, guys, if you're interested in it. And moving on to our next game news topic of the day, we have gameplay for a game called Cronos, the New Dawn. Now, I have never seen or heard of this game before seeing some of this gameplay. So this will be my first time viewing the gameplay footage with you guys. And YouTube's still a bit of a bitch, but so we're going to take a look at some of this gameplay footage and have it a little bit muted every so often. So yeah, this initial part, because of the music and stuff, we're gonna mute it. But yeah, this definitely looks interesting. It gives me the what is that game called? Dead Space vibes. I'm not sure if this is from the studio that brought us Dead Space originally. Why don't I look that up while you guys check out the rest of this gameplay? So go ahead and check this out while I look up who developed this game. But the graphics and just the visuals look so cool so far with this game. Let me know what you guys think.
The threads that used to bind the world together are snapping there in Sector A0.
So I got a list of some of their games here. I guess they worked on Silent Hill 2, The Medium, uh, the Blair Witch game, and some other ones, but those are the main titles. So yeah, I guess this is a new game that they're working on currently, and it looks phenomenal. I'm loving the way that this is looking so far. It looks super creepy. The vibes are crazy, and I'm loving just how everything's looking out. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the rest of this footage. I'm gonna mute myself. So Whoever's playing, his sensitivity's way too stiff. He needs to lower that or higher that sensitivity so he can move around more. But man, this does look really interesting gameplay. I'm loving the aspect, the introduction of how the movement is, especially with this little gravity thing. That just shows you that there's going to be some puzzles going on in the game as you play along, so that's going to be interesting to see. Let's go ahead and jump ahead about 6 minutes, shall we? Like we got some lore here. Oh, upgrading for the weapon. That's really cool. Wonder what other weapons you'll be able to get. I'm really loving the way that this pistol looks personally. Let's see if we can find like a boss fight or something. We might have something here. Let's take a look at this.
It really is something else. Initiating the anchor's frequency synchronization.
I guess that wasn't what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be something a little more exciting. Let's see here. More creepy vibes, hunting things down. There we go. Oop. Doesn't seem like there's a boss. I guess this is kind of a boss area. Multiple attacking.
That doesn't seem right.
Seems that they just did a bunch of editing here, jumping back and forth. It was probably a longer section, a longer fight that the character had to do. But yeah, this does look interesting and intriguing. It does give me Dead Space vibes, and I really enjoyed the Dead Space game. So I'm hoping this is something similar. I'll have to wait to see a little more from the gameplay myself before I'm for sure gonna buy it. But it does look intriguing. Let me know what you guys think. Does this game look interesting to you? And if you want to watch the whole thing without my dumb face and my dumb voice in the way, go ahead and take a look at the description down below. I'll have the links to everything there so you guys can go ahead and check it out for yourselves. Moving on to our next game news topic of the day. It looks like we have a Kickstarter campaign for a game called Exomecha. I think that's how you pronounce it, Exomecha. And I wasn't going to talk about this, but I thought it was very interesting. Excuse me. I thought it was very interesting because of the visual style and what they're trying to accomplish with this game. So let's go ahead and take a look at their little Kickstarter trailer, and then we'll go over to the website of the Kickstarter so you guys can check out if you're interested in supporting this or not. And I just thought that trailer looked super cool. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about that trailer. And probably YouTube probably remove this aspect of my show, which I'll probably have to edit out because I played the whole thing without talking over it. So go ahead and check it out in the description down below. But let's go ahead and jump over to the Kickstarter page here, shall we? So we can take a look at some of the things that they're offering for the Kickstarter. I think the just the visuals itself for a small team to for it to look that good looks phenomenal. Let's refresh the page, see where we're at here. Yeah, they're currently sitting at $3,600. So hopefully it gets a little more wider audience and stuff like that. If you guys are interested in supporting, go ahead and check. I'll have everything in the description down below again. So here's some of the visuals that we saw from the trailers. I just think it looks so cool. The graphics, it gives me kind of that Titanfall feel too, with like the way that it's feeling with handling giant mechs and things like that. It looks like in this section, which I kind of missed in the trailer. If you look right here, looks like you turn into that giant mech, maybe with like an upgrade or a power up or something like that. That's going to be pretty cool. And of course, the fighting aspect of the mech. And here's what they're hoping to reach to fund Exomecha 100K, new game mode with 250K, 500K, get exclusive cosmetics and things of that sort, and game mode rush. Yeah, if you guys are interested in supporting, that's that. And then we have some other things like some of the armor that they're going to be providing, the weapon skins that they'll be offering if you do decide to pitch in at a certain level, which looks really cool, really awesome. I would play these, but I don't want to have to deal with YouTube. But I just think this all looks really cool in this game and this concept. And I don't know how big the team is. I'm sure they're pretty small, but I think that's awesome. And if you guys are interested in seeing what rewards that they offer for things, just supporting is $1. You get the full game for $19 here, and then you get some other skins and stuff like that, all the way up to I think the biggest you can offer is $5,000 to donate, or not to donate, to help with the Kickstarter, and you get all this plus all the crazy other stuff. So if you guys are interested, I'll have the Kickstarter link down below. But I just thought that this was very interesting that a team is doing something this ambitious, and I do think the game looks like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to check out the game when they finally release it, whenever that may be. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for this now that I've seen it. And it looks like it's going to be coming to Steam and Xbox. I don't think there's going to be a PlayStation release, at least not anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe they'll eventually get a PlayStation release as the Kickstarter goes further. So if you guys are interested in supporting, go ahead and support them and check that out. Moving on to our next game news topic of the day. It looks like Obsidian, the developers of the Outer Worlds, has just dropped the price of Outer Worlds 2 from $79.99 to $69.99. Finally bring it down to the normal price at the moment. Most studios are trying to get to the point where they're selling their games for $80. It is around that time for this next generation. Initially when I was younger, games were $40, then they went up to 50, 60, and now we're sitting around the 70 mark. And people were trying to get it up to the $80 mark. But it looks like when they initially did the pre-orders for $80 or $79.99, there was a bit of a backlash from the community, and there was enough backlash and enough people not purchasing the pre-order that they decided to slash the price down to the typical $69.99. But I think the damage might be already done, in my opinion, knowing that the studio wants to do something of this sort to make a game this expensive. Now, $10 is not a lot if you really think about it, but also in the times we're currently at, it can be a lot. It can be a make or break for a game like this, and they kind of broke it by not sticking with what is typical in the industry currently. Now, I don't think the Outer Worlds 2 is a big enough game to break the $80 mark. A game like that would need to be Grand Theft Auto, which will probably be the case. So there's a lot of rumors out there that it might be $100 for the initial release. I don't think they'll go that far unless it's a special edition or you get certain things with the game. I think they're going to stick around the $80 mark for that game, but we're going to have to wait and see what they end up doing. Hopefully, that's not the case. I would like for things to stay at $70 at least until the next generation of consoles. But let me know what you guys think. Are you happy the Outer Worlds dropped by $10? Or will you be pre-ordering it now that it's not going to be at the $80 mark? And I'm actually happy to see a game like this kind of shows that the community won't support game prices going up unless it's a big major game. Even though I do think Grand Theft Auto will be the one to break this into the $80 mark, but it's nice to see that some fans are holding firm, making studios cut the price by $10, even if it's just $10. Moving on to our last game news topic of the day. It looks like Splitgate 2, the Splitgate 2 developer is going to unlaunch the game. And also, this is happening amidst some layoffs in the company. So, if you haven't heard, Splitgate 2 launched in June 6th this year, and they've had not the best launch. People are falling off. People are not continuing to play. There's a lot of complaints and a lot of bugs going on with the game. And the company recently laid off about 45 employees, as you can see here in this article. And they shut down Splitgate 1's servers, I believe, and that's no longer available to play. So what they are doing, at least according to this article and according to some things I read online, they're pushing the game back from the initial release to the beta version, so people can still play the beta version of the game, and they're gonna do some revamping and some reworking to do a relaunch in 2026, probably early 2026. Now the thing for me is, I'm wondering what happened. Like, I understand that the game got released with bugs and stuff like that, but you had 45 additional employees. I don't know what their positions were. I don't know what their affiliation was with the company, but I'm hoping they were in positions to make the game better. How did a game with 45 extra employees get to a point where it's not ready to be released enough so that you have to de-launch the game and then let go of those 45 people and then take the time to build the game again in a different way or revamp it in a certain way so it can go back to the original game and then launch it again? That just makes no sense to me. Like, how did you even come to this initially? So I'm very curious to see what the back end was looking like for the game, like what the development cycle was looking like, because that's just wild to me that something like this would happen. I've heard of things crazy happening, like, the people release a game and then a legal thing happens and they have to delist it or change the game so it doesn't, you know, interrupt a copyright or something like that. Or even Concord, where you have no one playing the game and you have to back it. But for a game company to delist their game, lay off 45 people, and then redevelop the game in a certain way to relaunch it in early 2026 is just crazy to me. This is the first time I've heard about this. So I'm curious what ended up happening. I'll probably do some more research, see if we can get further details as to what happened on the back end with this game and with this launch and stuff like that. But if you guys are interested in hearing more, go ahead and take a look at that article. And if you want more details, that'll probably be there. But I just think this is wild and crazy for a game studio to do this, and hopefully with their relaunch in early 2026 it's better and more typical to the Splitgate number one. So I think that's what fans kind of wanted, and hopefully they rebuild their fan base. Otherwise we're going to get another studio laying off even more people and the game just going kaputs. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. And that does it for our game news topics of the day, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about those topics and if you want to talk about certain stories. But let's go ahead and move on to our movie news topics of the day. Starting with, we now have a full trailer, a full trailer for Good Fortune, starring Keanu Reeves, Aziz Ansari, and Seth Rogen. And we now have an idea of what the story is about. Initially, the story is about an angel who has been helping people. I guess his job is to save people from texting and driving, and he wants to do more, so he gets assigned to Aziz Ansari's character to help him. And now we have a full premise of what the movie is. It looks like Aziz Ansari is sleeping in his car and his fortunes are down, and he's working for a very rich man in Seth Rogen's character. And he asks Keanu Reeves to switch their lives. So Keanu Reeves is trying to teach him a lesson that money will not fix all his problems, but hilarity ensues, and money, of course, fixes all his problems. I love this trailer. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny, and I cannot wait to see this movie. Initially, I was very iffy about it. I wasn't sure if I'd be interested in the movie, but after seeing this next trailer, I cannot wait to check out this movie. It looks hilarious, and I just think it's a great trailer for a movie. If you have not seen the trailer, I highly recommend you guys check it out and let me know what you guys think of the trailer in the comment section down below. And the job of a trailer is to take your excitement level and boost it up and to kind of, push you towards going to see the movie. The first trailer didn't do that for me, but this trailer definitely did. I'm definitely going to be checking out this movie now in theaters, and I cannot wait to see it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Moving on to our next movie news topic of the day. It looks like Chris Sanders is set to write the Lilo and Stitch sequel coming to us now that the movie did so well in theaters with the initial Lilo and Stitch movie was the first movie to make $1 billion, and it looks like now we have Chris Sanders coming in to write the sequel movie. Now, if you don't know who Chris Sanders is, I have his IMDb page up right here. He is the voice of Stitch, and not only is he the voice of Stitch, but he's also the writer of the original Lilo and Stitch movie back in 2002. And he has some great writing credits, as you can see here with How to Train Your Dragon, the Lilo and Stitch movie we just saw, The Wild Robot, The Croods. He's also done TV shows and things like that. He did the screenplay for the original How to Train Your Dragon animated movie, which I think is a phenomenal movie. He just does phenomenal work. He's worked on other things like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Mulan. So he is a phenomenal writer, and I think it's perfect that they're tapping him to write the next script for the Lilo and Stitch movie. This is a character he initially helped to create and write, so it makes sense that he would know how to move the story along. I don't think they're gonna do what they did with the animated Lilo and Stitch sequel movie. I hope not, at least, and they kind of do their own story and stuff like that. He was also part of the Lilo and Stitch TV show, and so hopefully they bring in some aspects of that, with the other siblings and stuff like that, or kind of maybe help. If you haven't seen the movie, they kind of ruin. Is it Jumba's character? I forget what his character's name is. The creator of Stitch's character, they kind of ruined him. So hopefully in the sequel they kind of redeem him and bring him back kind of how he was in the original show. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see him return to not only probably voice Stitch again, but to write the new story being told in the Lilo and Stitch story? Let me know what you guys think. Moving on to our next movie news topic of the day. It looks like they're gonna be getting a Skyler. Forgive me, I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong. I cannot say his last name, but his name is Skyler Gisondo. Gisondo. Anyways, he played oh my god, why can't I think? Superman. Jimmy Olsen. He was Jimmy Olsen in the most recent Superman movie, but it looks like they're tapping him to come and appear alongside Ben Stiller and play his son in Meet the Parents 4, which I think is great. It's also going to be starring Ariana Grande and things of that sort. Oh, just so you know who I'm talking about, it is this gentleman right here. I love this guy. I don't know what it is about him, but every time he's in a movie role, every time he's in a project, I just love his characters. I love his the way he acts, the way he portrays them. I think he does phenomenal work, and I cannot wait to see him. I hope this deal goes through and he does star in alongside Ben Stiller and plays his son in the new Meet the Parents. But I'm very excited for a Meet the Parents sequel. The last one wasn't necessarily the best, but I think they did a great job in bringing a comedy to life. And the Meet the Parents franchise is a good, fun franchise, and it'd be nice to see maybe Ben Stiller take on the grandfather role. Maybe his son is now introducing Ariana Grande as as his girlfriend or his fiance into the family, and now the Fockers have to meet a whole new family in her family. So I just think there's a lot of good, hilarious things that can be obtained with this kind of movie, and I cannot wait to see him portray his son, and I hope he gets the role. But and again, another actor could do a great job in the role, but I just think he brings a certain, you know, kind of silliness to the role, because Ben Stiller's character is very silly and ridiculous, and I think he can really fit that role as well. But let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see him take over as Ben Stiller's son in the Meet the Parents franchise? Moving on to our next topic of the day. It looks like Sony has teamed up with I don't know how to pronounce this properly, but Aevitas Creative Management, who manages a lot of books, and this partnership is pretty good because they do a lot of the top 100 New York Times best-selling books, and they manage a lot of these different people who create these books, so they can get a lot of good first look deals and a lot of interesting stories to be told. So I think this is a great partnership that Sony's obtaining. And the one thing that I've loved about Sony so far is they have decided not to pursue the streaming service aspect of things. Well, at least when it comes to movies and stuff. I know they're partnered with Crunchyroll, or they own Crunchyroll and things like that, sticking with their anime field. But as far as their movies, they decided to be the arms dealer in the whole race of streaming services and kind of just be the person to create content for these streaming services. And I think that's a great idea. And this is another aspect of that where they can take content that people are very interested in as far as books and bring it over to film and recreate stories in a different medium. And now, if you guys are curious what kind of books that they this company works with, here are some of their best-selling books that are listed. I have not read any of these books, nor am I interested in a lot of these books, but I'm sure some people are, and I'm sure some of them are very interesting works. And if you guys have read any of these books or are interested, this one looks pretty interesting to me just off the graphics here. But as far as the other ones are concerned, I'm not really sure. But I think a lot of decent projects can come to the forefront, maybe even introduce people to these characters and to these stories and get people to buy the books. And so it's beneficial for both companies on the aspect of, you know, getting these stories told in different mediums. So I think this is a great idea. What a great partnership. I think Sony's genius for doing this, and I can't wait to see what projects come out of this. But let me know what you guys think. Is there any particular book that this company owns that you know of that you're interested in seeing adapted? I'd love to hear more. Moving on to our last movie news topic of the day. Not only the other day did we get the poster for Avatar Fire and Ash, which you can see here in our opening right here, but we also got some news updates that the first trailer for Avatar Fire and Ash will be playing exclusively in theaters in front of the Fantastic Four movie, which makes a lot of sense. I think it's kind of like what they're doing with what they did with Christopher Nolan's movie, The Odyssey. If you want to read more, go ahead and check out this article. But it's basically just covering the fact that, you know, this trailer is going to be playing in front of the theaters. I think the initial weekend will probably be where you'll be able to see the Avatar Fire and Ash. Of course, there'll be leaks online as people watch the movie. But you'll probably get the initial release next week on YouTube. So if you want to check that out and be patient, but I think it's a great idea to show movies of this caliber in theaters first for trailers, because you know the whole theatrical experience is to, you know, bring an experience to people, and seeing first time trailers and first time big features like Avatar, like a huge franchise like this, is great. And it's great advertisement for the Fantastic Four movie, because there are some people that might not have been interested in seeing it, but now that they know they're going to see the Avatar Fire and Ash trailer, they might be interested in seeing that. And we've seen that before in, excuse me guys, we've seen that before in, like, back in the day when the Star Wars trailer was going to be playing in front of certain movies. People just went to go watch the trailer and then watched a movie afterwards. But I know we're in a different time where we get things online better than we did back then. But I do think it's interesting now, because some people who might have been on the fence about seeing the movie, wasn't sure, now probably are towards watching the movie. And I think this is a good advertisement. You know, there's part of the same company, and I hope they do something similar like this with the Avengers Doomsday and things of that sort moving forward. So yeah, what do you guys think? Are you excited to see the Avatar Fire and Ash trailer in front of Fantastic Four tomorrow? And yeah, that's it. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today's episode of the Truly Odd Podcast. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. And always remember, guys, stay true, be odd.